Hello everyone, Archer Gaming here, and today I am going to be discussing the Brotherhood box for Bushido, the miniatures game. So this is a game that I have recently got into, and I started with the Brotherhood box, so I thought what I'd do is a bit of a explanation of what's gone in there, my tactics and stuff, because I have got a few games played with them now, and show you off my painted versions of the models. Again, I don't claim to be a pro painter, so if you like what you see, I'll just do a quick run through of how I've painted them and why I've chosen the particular colour schemes I have, a little bit on the model and how they affect, and then towards the end of the video I'll go through all the cards that also come with it and discuss and how I feel they work tactically as a Brotherhood box and how they fit into some other lists that I've played them in. So the theme of this box is Brotherhood. So this is the actual theme card you can run if you are running this particular box, and there's also a few other models that I'll get into in a moment that can also be taken in this. So for actually having the Brotherhood theme, you gain coordinated attack, friendly. So it means anytime there are two models in base, you get an additional dice in your attack melee pool. And also you may recruit models into the theme as if you had recruited a Harito model, even if you do not recruit Harito. And you're also allowed to run Harito in this. So because this is a Ronin card, you can play any faction. However, if you are running the Drunken Master model, then your entire theme becomes the themes that he can run, which is Drunk Pirates and Silver Syndicate. So you have that choice. Also in this you can run the new Black Eagle Harito when that's come out. It's just recently been previewed and it's up for pre-release now. So that will also enable you to run it as a Shiho list, which also means if you do run Brotherhood as a Shiho list with the Black Eagle, you can also run the Giant Eagle in this Brotherhood theme list. If not, it's the Eldest Brother. It's the only other model that isn't in this box set that can be run under the Brotherhood theme. So let's take a look at the models that come in this box, and I'll go through those next. So up first we do have Batu, which is a tribesman and a plainsman for a 20 rice cost model, with 3 attack, 3 range, 5 speed and 1 key generation per turn, with a max of 6, and you can boost his range. He comes with a close attack weapon that gives some sidestep attack, and a bow which has lightweight and reload with a 5, 10 and 15 inch range. Now this does get entangled when you are targeting a non-soulless model, so that means it does no damage but will tangle them. He also has Aware, Banzai, Cavalry with 5 inches, bone and charging bonus Courage 1, Flank, Hatred and Vengeance for Kari, Range Defense 2 and Unstable, with 2 activate abilities as well. And those activate abilities are Headshot, so that's a 2 key cost activation with an effect of 6 inches. So target models of range defense gain critical attack 0 against enemy Karai models, which are undead. And he also has Passing Strike for a 1 cost key, which is also an activation on himself, and this model moves into a melee action. It may make a normal, if this model moved into a melee this action, it may make a normal damage roll when resolving a successful sidestep attack. So as you see, his actual blade itself has sidestep, and with the cavalry, what that means, and Banzai, it means you can actually get quite a distance across the board. It means you can actually get 15 inches with a cavalry 5-inch move, Banzai, and then you still do your sidestep attack, or what you can do is Banzai in with a charge move for 10 inches, attack with the 1 key activation Passing Strike, attack, use your sidestep attack, and then move 5 inches away. So it really gives you a lot of versatility. He also has Flank as well, which is a very, very nice model. And he also has kind of a unique flank, which is in the end phase, if this model is in contact with a neutral board edge, you may place this model elsewhere and it returns to play using the flank rules. So it means you can kind of move him around quite a lot. Very good for zone of control and objectives. And also means that, especially zone of control and stuff like that, also as well if you're sort of stuck in a bit of a situation or you need to go assist a model the other side of the board. He has that great movement and then can move around quite a lot as well in his turn. So as you would expect with a character on a horse, that he is a very quick character, doesn't deal a lot of damage but is great for zoning controls, getting to prayer markers, especially with the cavalry. It means you can pray, use both your actions to pray in one turn, which is unique kind of to him with his movement. It's very hard to do outside of cavalry. Now, last thing I will mention about him is I have painted him in purple with a black horse. He does have a slightly unique base as well, just where a horse wouldn't be necessarily in the bar theme with everyone else, would be a bit more outside. So on the back he does have that bar theme that I've kind of gone for, a sort of an inn in the docks. But yeah, I've very much enjoyed this model, very much like using him. He isn't the strongest in the box, but I'll go through that shortly. Next up we come to Tropar, the Loyal Ashigaru. So again, it's 14 rise, can only be played in Shiho, and does have 3 attack, 3 range, 4 movement, and a 2 chi generation per turn with a max of 6. Can also boost up his melee and range for 3. He comes with a sharp 1 combo attack 1 katana, with armor 2 Banzai Last Stand, leadership loyal 1 and 6 inches, light-footed, steadfast, tireless, and Vengeance Takashi, with a 3-cost activated ability of Rally. Now again, this is kind of a unique model in the fact that in the starting phase he does start with a frightened marker, and this model does treat all enemies as if they had Fear 5, and while in melee exchanges with this model, enemies loses Rise and Last Stand. So again, similar to Batu, is very quite good at dealing with undead. And again, also the same as Batu, though I forgot to mention, this all the rules of all the figures in the set do have this model may be recruited into any warband that has recruited Harito, but obviously the Brotherhood removes that restriction. So Banzai again is very good on this guy. There is an item that he can take, which we'll go on to shortly, which does make him interesting when more models come out. Again, with this leadership for Loyal, it's very similar. He is the only model with Loyal. And also the fact that he can get frightened easily is a very interesting way of dealing with him. Obviously, he can remove his own frighten marker, which is very good, but he still treats enemies as if they have that Fear 5. Now, the benefit for this is if you are going against models that do have a higher fear than 5, you still treat them as Fear 5. It does say in the rules that you treat all models as if they had Fear 5. It doesn't replace it to Fear 6 or Fear 7, which I know some people can stack to. So you do just treat them as if they had Fear 5. A standard weapon, but again the Banzai helps with the charging and you get the charging attack bonuses for that. So again, quite an interesting model. Kind of one of the first ones I do tend to drop out. But again, we'll come on to his equipment in a bit. But still really solid, really cheap for this boss. It is quite an expensive box, an expensive rice cost list. And as you can see with the paint job, I have gone for a brown sort of bronze feel to him, kind of similar to what I've seen Shiho in the art, but I kind of like it. You know, it's a bit battered, but he's still got that shine, that loyalty. That's why his armor's still very clean, as he takes pride in it. This is what a lot of samurai would have done. He takes pride in his armor. That's why it's still darker colours, but still clean. He's still taking pride of it. Also, as well, he does have that Shiho banner, which is his attachment, which we'll get on to shortly. And again, it's sort of based in that wooden sort of infill basing. But we will go on to the next character. So next up, we do have Kendish. So he is a medium-sized base model. 16 rise cost and can work with Shiho, Shooing Pirates, or the Syndicate. He has a 3 attack, 2 range, 4 movement, 1 chi generating for a maximum of 6 character, who can boost his melee for 3 dice. He does have 9 health and has 2 close combat weapons, the Burning Long, which is plus 3 damage with a fire 1/2 marker and reach. And then he is also trained in the art of wrestling for plus 1 damage with throw attack, throw defense and grapple attack, all at 1 cost. It doesn't have many keywords in the way of keywords. All he has is Intimidate, Strong, Stupid, and Vengeance prefixture, with 2 abilities, one being a Complex, which is a 3-cost Fire Spin, which is you get to move this model 4 inches in a straight line in any direction. Any model within 2 inches of this model at any point in this path gains a Fire 2 marker. Until the end phase, while this model is in play, models making range attacks suffer a +1 modifier to the challenge number of the range attack test. In the next starting phase, the player who wins the tactical test moves this model 4 inches in a straight line in any direction. The other player then moves him 2 in a straight line in any direction. Any model within 2 inches of this model at any point of its path gains a Fire 2 marker, and then this effect ends. And then his second one is a 1-cost instant, which is this model grants cover as if it was terrain until the end of the activation. Now he always has cover, and he also has strongest. Now strongest for a unique effect is that enemy models may not use melee boosts while in a melee exchange with this model, and again he also has the Harito rule-ins. Now this character is a good lot of fun. I find that the guy I've played against many a times does like to target him with poison a lot, as he doesn't actually have any buffs, he's just a lot of health for cheap rice. So for me, he's very good. He's very good at area of effects. Obviously with the stupid ruling, it means he doesn't really get much say so on action-based games. So games where he has to pray or anything like that, or worship. Obviously he does then start to struggle a little bit, but you are getting a lot of health for a very cheap price. The fire log is great, +3, especially if you charge. That's +5 damage on your roll. Plus you are still burning them as well, so that even if you get a little bit of damage on them, you're still slowly crisping them if they can't put it out with an action. So I do humbly enjoy this model. Very nice. As you can see, I've kind of gone for a blue grey paint scheme on him just to make that skin tone pop and the fire in his logs pop. But overall quite a fun model. The cover 2 really helps as well because of his medium size. It means he's always getting plus. It's almost like he has range defense 1, but without having range defense, so it can't stack with cover. But overall, a really good model. One of my favourites from the box actually. But now we'll go on to the next one. So the next one is Shoishu, who's a Shaijin no Gakai. For 11 rice, can be part of Shiho, Cult, Aito, Minamoto, or forgotten the last faction. But is a 11 cost with 2 attack, 1 range, 4 movement, and 2 ki, with a maximum of 8, and can boost his ki and melee for 2. He has a staff with reach and push defense 0 for 0 damage, dodge 1, 6th sense, vengeance, intangible, and soulless. Now his unique effects before I get into his abilities. I mean, if this model would make a fear test against a model with intangible or soulless, it automatically succeeds. When this model uses a non-ki boost ki feat, it gains a control marker after the current activation is resolved. And this model may be recruited into any warband as if it had Harito. That has recruited Harito. Let's go through his abilities. So first one is a special, which is Martyr. So it's X plus 1, and a pulse with X as the range. So it's move X non-prone, non-held, non-reloading state markers from a friendly model to this model. So what it means is he can take control markers, he can take poison, he can just suck all that away. However, it does make him controlled. So if your opponent is playing quite a control-y list, so something like the Roses, or has a way of controlling one of your models, he can actually take that from them, and he himself is already controlled, so he would then get 2 control markers. So it's kind of like a risk reward, like he's kind of being taken over. And his second one is Spirit Guardian, which is 3 cost of ki, instant, with a 3-inch area of pulse. And this is when a friendly model within the pulse area of effect is targeted by an enemy model's ki feat, change the target to this model, range just measures to the original target. So again, what it means is if they're trying to drain your ki or give you poison with Ito or any other numerous ki feats, he can sort of take that bullet for them. So he's quite spiritually in tune, but very tortured. Again, I quite like him. He's a high risk character though. The fact that like control, he's very easily controlled, is a bit of a risk. But you know, it's a bit interesting. He's still very cheap, and like I say, he is the cheapest model in the Brotherhood faction at the moment, sub faction. But yeah, I quite like him. But as you can see, paint wise, I have gone for a gold staff with green robes, and kind of really tried to do in like a burnt effect on his left hand side, with various washes and stuff like that. I'm quite happy with how he's turned out. But yeah, like I say, again, he's one of those ones that do get dropped quite often when I'm trying to play around with other stuff. So I have proxied some of the other models that can run in Brotherhood. But again, he's quite interesting. Again, he's very cheap. So if you kind of still want him for the activations, he can still be there. And sometimes just the ability to not lose one of your bigger characters and let him be controlled a little bit, it is worth it. However, like I say, it can be a massive downfall, which is quite the theme with Brotherhood. Really, is they're big, powerful characters, but they do have major weaknesses, which I kind of like. This is why I was attracted to them. But anyway, on we go to the last set of characters. So next up, when I say group, we do come into the 2 lone swordsmen, which are Unknown Samurai for 25 rice for both of them. They can be in She-Hulk, Cult, Silver Moon, Young Pirates, Tengu, or the Ninjas, I think the North Star. And that they are 3 range, 3 melee, 4 speed, 1 chi, with no maximum, and they can boost everything for 3 ki. They have a katana with Pierce 1, Reach, Counter Strike Defense, and Sidestep Attack for 0 on the sidestep, 1 on the Counter Strike Defense. And they have Armor 2, Coordinated Attack, Lone Swordsman, Group, Hatred for Tengu, and Prowess Melee 1. They also have an activated ability for 2 ki, which is when apply melee assist penalties for a melee exchange involving the Lone Swordsman. This model inflicts -2 dice rather than -1 dice until the current melee exchange is resolved. Now they do have a very unique effect. So they have something called linked. So what this means is if this model is killed, instead put it elsewhere. In the start phase, place any Lone Swordsman that are elsewhere into play with no marked damage boxes in base to base with the Lone Swordsman model. If both Lone Swordsman model are elsewhere at the same time, remove them from play. These models must always declare the same action unless one of them performs a charge. And when a Lone Swordsman would generate key tokens or otherwise gain key tokens, instead place those key tokens on this card. Either Lone Swordsman may spend key tokens from this card to pay for key feats, boosts, or other effects. This model cannot have enhancement cards attached, and this model may be recruited into any War Bandits if it had Harito. So again, they're really cool. They're a massive tar pit to deal with. However, again, there's a lot of skill and a lot of talent to play in these worlds. I feel like I would never say mastered, but I feel like I've kind of got a good grip on them. And these are my 2 favourite models in this set. They, for 25 points, like they are very expensive, and they're not that expensive, 12.5 rice each. The massive drawback with this is that group and having to take the same action. Like for example, you can't pray with one if the other one hasn't got a prayer or an objective action. Again, melee, if one of them's stuck in melee, one of them's not, can't get in there. There's a lot of hardship with them and a good fair skill. However, the fact that they never really die unless you hit both of them at the same time is really, really cool. The group attack as well can be very handy, especially if they kind of already have the group attack anyway, so it doesn't stack. But if you already have one model in base to base, then you've kind of got these guys in there. You're getting a lot of dice. Obviously they're doing the movement part before their melee action, and then they're sort of hacking and slacking. The armor really helps them as well, keeps them a bit more safe. And yeah, I really love these models. Paint wise, I have kind of gone for orange robes and kind of a rose gold armor, which I accidentally made trying to make a different colour and really liked it. And then what I've done, just to differentiate them a little bit, is I've kind of gone inverted on their wristbands, middle sash, and sheath. So one of them has a black sheath, black wristbands, and then the other has the opposite of that. I think it still makes them slightly unique, but still the same because they are linked, and really like them. So now we come to some of the upgrade cards in the pack as well. So firstly, you get the hand cannon, which is enhancement equipment. So the attached model gains the following ranged weapon. So it's a +2 damage, pierce 2, reload 2 pistol with 3, 6, and 9. No monks can take it, and it is required in the Brotherhood theme. Again, I have tried it on a few models. The reload 2 kind of hurts it a little bit, so I haven't used it that much. I think there's better upgrades you can take in the Ronin deck. But again, it kind of fills the whole of the range that this list is missing. The only range character is Batu, and he doesn't do damage unless you're essentially undead. The next card we have is Fujin'S Charm, which is another enhancement. And this is when a model moves into base to base with attached model. If this model is not already in base to base with an enemy model, place attached model within 2 inches of its current location and not in the enemy zone of control, and not in a zone of control of an enemy model, then discard this card. So it's a great way of, if you know for a tournament you're playing a VM and you kind of want to keep that character alive a little bit longer, it just prevents one charge or one attack because you just instantly move away. I've tried to run it on Batu a few times, again just so then he can pass his strike in. It's a very good card. It means you're not losing your activation because no melee exchange is happening. The 3 rice on it is quite a bit pricey, but if you really need to keep one model alive, it's really good for that. So next up we come up to Tropar's the Eagle Banner, which is required for him. It says, while attached model is within 6 inches of an enemy model, friendly loyal models with line of sight to the attached model gain Banzai. So again, similar to leadership, the loyal trait is he's the only one with it and he already has Banzai. So I kind of feel like it's a bit of a redundant purpose at the moment. However, you do also give friendly models with line of sight to attached model gains Vengeance Prefisher, and it's considered medium size for this ability. So again, like, I think if more loyal models come out, it's going to be really good. As for the moment, you know, his banner and him are still a little bit weaker, but when those more loyal models come out and you can run him in a Shiho loyal list, he'll be really good. So I think it's a bit of future proofing. But again, nothing else other than him currently has the loyal keyword. So next up we have Meticulous Preparation, which is an event restricted to Brotherhood again, where no event cards may be played until the end phase. So again, it's kind of handy in those occasions where your opponent's playing a lot of cards. It is 4 rice, so it is kind of a waste if your opponent isn't running that many. But again, it's a good old cancel. And then we have Unexpected Maneuver, which is also a requirement of the Brotherhood theme event, where in the starting phase remove a destructible piece of terrain from the table. So again, it allows you to get rid of a little piece of terrain if you want those more line of sights and line movements. It's not typically how I play, so I haven't actually used this card yet. It's one of the few I haven't. As opposed to the event card, the Meticulous Preparation, which I have used. Again, it's very hard to use and anticipate your opponent using it. Sometimes you will come against players that don't use as many event cards. So again, a little bit more awkward with both of those, very circumstantial. So next up we have the 2 Rice Cross Fraternal Reassurance, which is an event, which is when a friendly model fails a fear test within 3 inches of another friendly model, it gains steadfast to the end of the turn, and it's restricted to Brotherhood. So again, similar to what I said about the Eagle Banner with Tropar, you're also kind of putting this on Tropar for him to not fail those fear tests, I find. So again, it's more investment into a character that isn't at the moment giving you a lot in return. It is restricted Brotherhood, so even if a loyal Shiho list does come out, it's going to struggle to take that along anywhere else. But if you are playing a lot of fear, against a lot of fear, it's kind of handy to have in the background. Again, I wouldn't recommend it, but again, it's up to you. It is still a solid card. It still can be there for the 2 points. It is kind of worth the circumstantial, but not for me. However, we also have a 2 rice cost event for the requirement of the Brotherhood called Forevermore, which is when an opposing player uses an event cost card of 3 rice or fewer. You may immediately play this card to cancel that event. The event card is discarded as if it's just taken place, restricted to Brotherhood again. So again, I really do like this card. It's just great. A lot of players do play 1 or 2 events, so the fact you can just cancel it if it is a lower cost event is really, really handy. Probably the best event card I can recommend. Again, sometimes it might sit dead, but more often than not, there would just be, even if they're playing 1 event card, it's just a cancel. Very, very handy. So next up, we come up to the only card in the set that isn't restricted to Brotherhood in terms of event cards, which is Harito's New Plan. So this is a 2 rice cost event, which allows you may choose to automatically win the tactical test. Your opponent may choose automatically win the tactical test this turn. If they do, add an activation counter to any friendly model. So I was running this quite heavily when I first started playing. However, the 1 opponent I've been able to play against just would rather take the risk than me having 3 activations on someone like a Kendish or a Batu to really help drive home those. Again, it is completely Ronin, so you can't just run it at any point. There's no restrictions on this. Again, it's one of those cards I'm tempted to take in a tournament, as I feel it can give you a massive advantage, especially the turns you kind of don't want to go first. So even turn 6, sometimes you don't want to go first, and it really can give your opponent a choice. It can make them think a little bit, it can catch them off guard. So I really, really do like this card. So there we are, guys. That is some of my thoughts and a look into the Brotherhood box. As I said at the start of the video, I am not overly competent in Bushido. I am still a relatively new player. This was the first box I did pick up, but I'm really enjoying the mechanics and the game style. Again, if you want to see more of this, I am looking at getting the Shiho box. And again, always follow my Instagram and Facebook, links which will be below under Archer Gaming, where I will be showing off any new models I get, along with updates of paints and sometimes some smaller battle reports of photos during mid-games and what's going on. Like I say, please do check all that out below, and thank you so much. Like I say, if you do like this video, hit a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, hit a thumbs up and give a subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely afternoon. Enjoy your life. Take it easy.